I tell you my name, but the change.
You know, if you're born in the South and someone gives you a nickname, it's probably because you either looked like something or you done something. If your nickname is Spanky, there's probably a pretty good reason for it. If your nickname is Bubba, there's probably a good reason for it. And if you give a guy a nickname like Bubba, eventually he'll start acting like a Bubba. And that's what happened with me when my grandmother nicknamed me Brando.
Man, I sure had the feeling. I thought this serious when they yelled Freebird and I knocked a hole in.
She was my grandmother on my mother's side of the family. We all called her Nana. And her favorite actor was Marlon Brando. And when I was a kid, I was always acting for Nana. I was always doing impressions. I always call her up on the phone, and she would answer the phone, and I would go into my Steve Urkel impression or my Red Fox impression. And she used to get me to do the old heart attack routine around the living room.
Cause I saw Bucky last Saturday night and he was picking at a tractor pull.
And one day she just began talking about how much I love to act and carry on, and she just started calling me Brando and stuff.
They said, play what you know, so I wrote it instead, and I said, you'll thank me later.
I view the entire world as characters. In my mind, everyone I meet is in character when I shake their hand. I know that they are a different person behind closed doors. And before anyone gets bent out of shape and says, oh no, bullshit, man, I miss way all the time. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you been walking through a store and you didn't want to be fucked with, you didn't want nobody to bother you, and yet somebody came walking towards you and was like, hey man, how you doing? What did you do? You went into character. You said, oh man, not doing much, how are you? Good to see you. And then as you walked away, pushing your buggy, is going, dang, I didn't run into anybody. Tell me you weren't in character. Over the years, I slowly began growing into the Brando character and finding ways to add to that character and make him come to life. Brandon would have never put on a bandana. He always wore baseball caps. But when I would go out to play in the bars, I felt like I needed something on my head. I always felt naked without something on my head. I tried different ball caps, tried different cowboy style hats, fedoras, like the bucket Ned Beatty kind of hats. And for some reason, I always had a drawer full of bandanas. And so one day, I just put the bandana on. And the first time I ever put it on, I just folded it, kind of like Willie Nelson does, let my hair still show on top. And just after a couple of tweaks, I tied the bandana the way you see it now, and I've been wearing it now for 15 years or more. It just stuck. In my mind, the bandana is now part of the Brando character, and I feel kind of naked without it if I don't wear it. But it can be cool because I have actually went to a few events without it and sat right amongst my friends and they didn't recognize me. So it works to my advantage sometimes. People have often asked me, what's the difference between Brandon and Brando? Well, there's a lot of differences. First of all, Brandon's the kind of guy that just likes to go with the flow. He doesn't like confrontation. He prefers to be left alone. He's not very much of a people person. To tell you the truth, Brandon hates big crowds. He prefers to be left to his own vices. Brandon will try to enter into a room quietly, sit in the corner, wait till the party's almost over, and leave without telling anybody bye. Brandon just wants to get his plate of food, sit alone in the corner, eat his hot dog with a fork, and not be fucked with. But Brando is the one who will go ahead and say what Brandon really didn't want to have to say. Brando is the one that will walk on stage, transform into something different, and have no filter whatsoever. There's times that Brando has said stuff that shocked Brandon. And Brandon was going, did you really just say that? And Brando said, fuck yeah, I did, roll with it. And honestly, my mother is the only one who can call me Brandon, and I feel comfortable. Anyone else says Brandon, I automatically think, okay, I feel uncomfortable about it for some reason. And if someone says Mr. Folsom, I'm like, what kind of line of bullshit are you fixing to sell? But when someone calls me Brando, I feel at ease. I feel like they understand and they know the real person. To my beloved Nana, who was the first to call me Brando, who taught me how to remove all filters and speak my mind, and to Marlon Brando, who once said, we're all actors. As a matter of fact, you're acting right now.
I never toured the world and I never made a dress rehearsal. And I resent the ones that tell me my songs should be more universal.